In this video, we will discuss basic probability. So what is probability? It is the likelihood that an event will happen. And when we discuss probability, we're going to look at it like this. The probability of an event occurring, so the probability that an event will occur is written as favorable outcomes over possible outcomes. Okay, so the probability of something happening could be represented by a number as small as 0 and as great as 1. So right here on this end, I'm going to put 0. Over here, I'm going to put 1. And right in the middle, put 1/2. All right, so the probability of something could be anywhere. It could be 0, it could be a half, it could be a 1, or it could be anywhere in between those. So let's look at some examples. In this gray box over here, I have 2 red stars, a blue star, and a yellow star. And I ask, what's the probability of getting a green star? Well, there are no green stars. All right, so there are 0 favorable outcomes. That means the probability of me getting a star, a green star, is 0. On this end of the spectrum, all the way over on the right side, I have a number cube there. And let's just say I roll that number cube. What's the probability that I'm going to get a number greater than 0? Well, let's look at what the favorable outcomes. Well, how many numbers on the number cube are greater than 0? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6, I'm going to run it up here, there are 6 favorable outcomes. And how many possible outcomes are there? Well, again, there's 6 possible outcomes because we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the probability is 6 out of 6 or 1. So the probability of getting a number greater than 0 is 1/2. And then right here in the middle, we have, let's say this is a coin. And I say, what's the probability that I'm going to land on a heads? Well, I know on one side of the coin we have a heads, the other side I have a tails. So how many favorable outcomes are there? In other words, how many heads are there? There's 1 head. And how many possible outcomes are there? Well, I can either get a heads or a tails. So there are 2 possible outcomes. So the probability that I'll roll a heads is 1/2. All right, let's take a look at some more examples. Right here, let's pretend we have a box here. It's filled with a bunch of marbles. And I ask, what's the probability of picking out a green marble? Just out of randomly. Close your eyes, stick your hand in the box. What's the probability you'll pick out a green marble? So favorable outcomes. In other words, how many green marbles are there? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 green marbles. So my numerator is going to be 4. Now, on the bottom, the denominator is represented by the possible outcomes. So how many marbles do I have altogether? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the probability of me picking a green marble out of that box is 4/13. For this example right here, what's the probability that I'll roll a number greater than 4 on this number cube? Well, how many favorable outcomes are there? In other words, how many numbers are greater than 4 on this number cube? Well, I have a 5 and a 6. So I have 2 favorable outcomes, and since it's a number cube, it's a standard number cube, I have 6 possible outcomes. And of course, that can be reduced to 1/3. And let's take a look at one more example. Let's pretend this is a dresser drawer. So let's say pretend you're wearing a red sock and the lights are out and you can't see and you kind of stick your hand into the dresser drawer. What's the probability that you're going to pick a red sock out? So you want a red sock because you have 1 red sock on. What's the probability you'll pick a red sock out? Well, how many favorable outcomes are there? So how many red socks do we have? We have 3 red socks. how many total or possible outcomes do we have? We have 10 socks here. So the probability of me picking a red out of that drawer is 3/10. All right, so that's how you do basic probability. Again, you just remember this fraction, favorable outcomes over possible outcomes. And there you go.